Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our ShareFile and user training brought to you by Citrix Customer Success Management team. We're really excited to share all our tips and tricks of using your new ShareFile tool, so let's get started. Before we get started, depending on the licensing that you purchased, the tool may be called Content Collaboration, Citrix Files, or even ShareFile. The tool features are all the same, but just to avoid confusion as we're going through the presentation, we will use all three namings. We also have added a reference guide, so as we go through the slide deck today, you'll note that the reference guide is listed as a resource on the control panel here within GoToWebinar. So all the linked material that we go through today, you'll have access to even after the session today. We will also be taking questions throughout the presentation, so as you have questions, please enter them into the questions box also on your GoToWebinar control panel. You'll be able to enter in questions as we go, but we'll wait until the end of the presentation to go through all of the questions then. Feel free to ask for us to deep dive any of the features or even ask a question about a topic that maybe we haven't touched. We'll be more than happy to re-review or deep dive into that feature. For presenters today, we have Megan Kramer, Senior Program Manager of Customer Success, Krutika Sain, Senior Product Manager of Admin Experience, and our technical guru, Jose Yulico, Customer Success Manager in the Americas. For the agenda today, we'll be going over account setup, where you'll be able to locate your welcome email and sign-in page. We'll also go over your personal settings that you can update. And then we'll go into a deep dive inside the tool. We'll go over your dashboard, managing files and folders, being able to share your files and folders, and then also requesting files. Finally, for the third portion, we'll go over advanced features. We'll go over ShareFile Office Online Editing, Outlook plugin, Citrix Files for Windows and Mac, and then finally our print driver. So let's get started. The first section, again, is account setup.
Thanks, Meg. So before you get your hands dirty with ShareFile, let's go ahead and work through getting access to your account. The first thing you want to do when you get your ShareFile account is locate the email that was sent to you from your account administrator. Once you find it, you'll want to click on Activate Account to be directed to enter your name and create a password. After logging in, be sure to bookmark the page for faster access to your web portal. Going forward, you'll be prompted to enter your email and password to access ShareFile. If you ever need to reset your password, use the Forgot Password link on this page. Once you've gotten access to your account, you want to start to get familiar with your personal settings. Some of the main settings that stand out are 1. Edit your profile. So this is where you can change your password, update email addresses, and email notifications. The second one is personal security, where you can set up two-step verification, where you can use your phone to provide an extra layer of security for your username. You can either set up telesign or register a QR code to log in. The third and fourth one are personal cloud connectors as well as advanced connectors. Connect to one of the cloud services to access files stored there through ShareFile. This really helps you migrate your data without having to lift and shift from other data sharing products. And then the final one that we have here are apps and devices. Lock a user account on the device to prevent the user from accessing the ShareFile data on it.
Perfect, thank you, Kruti. So now let's take a look inside the tool. First, we'll go into Personalized Dashboard. Jose?
Thank you, Megan. So one of the things in ShareFile is that you are able to set your account as best suited. So one of the things that we have is the dashboard, and this is basically the landing page after you log on to ShareFile, and it's basically a place where you will be able to see shortcuts to the most common functions or files that you have been accessing, even folders. It has by default 4 tiles which you can choose to display or not by clicking on the Edit Dashboard. The sections are recent files, which is going to show the 5 files that you have been accessing most recently. And this is an easy way to go back to files that you were previously working on. Shortcut section will allow you to button to the most common tasks and features on share file, so you can start working right away, sharing or requesting files as an example. The tutorial section will have a selection of articles and videos, which will be categorized for navigating easily through them, and it's a great resource for people, especially starting using the application. The favorite section will allow you to shortcut files and folders that you mark as favorites in order to save time in case that you are looking for files and folders that you need to access frequently. Then you have the option to create personal folders. All employee users are assigned a personal folder by default. This personal folder, you will have full administrator rights on it and on any subsequent subfolders that you create in the personal folder root section. So you will be able to create and delete folders and files, add users, and determine the specific permissions that you want to set for them. In order to do this, you will have to click on the white plus sign, and this will display a menu with the actions available. This is the easiest way to create new folders. Right-click on any folder or file will display the available actions for those specific folders and files. Multiple items can be selected, and this changes the available options that you have. The share folders will display any folders that other users have shared with you. The actions that you might perform in these folders will vary on the specific level of access that you have been granted previously by administrator. Creating folders in the root level of shared folders is a specific access that might be revoked when creating employee users. This helps administrator to have a better managing of the file structure. Users with admin rights to specific shared folders will have the same level of control that they have on their personal folders. Right-clicking on an item will display the actions available for the specific selection of files and folders. So for the folder settings, we have the folder expiration date, and this is the date when the folder and all of the items inside will be deleted. The file retention policy, on the other hand, will allow you to set a specific amount of days, after which the files inside this folder will be deleted, but the folder will remain. File versioning will allow you the option to create a new version of a file instead of overwriting the file. Sort order will allow you to set default sort order fields, and you can have this applied to your subfolders. The folder template will allow you to select a folder template previously created by an administrator to apply the folder structure to this specific folder. The storage zone will allow customers to manage the storage zones, and this will allow users to change the storage zone from a specific folder. Now, in order to add users to a folder, the admin's right will be required on that specific folder. Then you should click on People on this folder tab, and then just proceed by adding the user. By checking the boxes, you will select the specific permissions every user and distribution group will have on the folder. To add users, again, just click on Add People to Folder, and this will allow you to add multiple users at the same time and user group, and use a similar checkbox matrix to determine the specific levels of access. To remove users, then you just click on the checkboxes next to the names you want to remove, and then click on Remove Selected. Clone User will allow you to add a user with the same access level as the selected user. So let's see how this works.
Okay, now let's take a view at the dashboard. So the dashboard is basically the landing page after you log on to the Citrix share file. And this is going to be the view that you will have as soon as you log on. So as you can see, we have by default 3 default sections over here at the center. So we had favorites, where you can actually check on the folders that I have and files that I also have marked as favorites, right? The recent files, which is going to show me the top files that I have been working on. A list of 5 will be displayed there. Shortcuts down below, where I can actually start working on the most common functions of share file. So I can start sharing and requesting files, for example. And also, you need to know regarding the dashboard that you can drag around sections and then just place them as you want to. You can also click on Edit Dashboard and perhaps add a different section here as an example tutorials. So you will know how this section here that is going to give you some useful videos and links for different topics that you might need to check on. I strongly recommend to check on this, especially when you are starting using Shareful, to learn a little bit more about the application. We also have the folder sections over here. So I'm going to show you how to create a folder, right? I will be creating this folder in the share folder section here. And what I will do will be just to go to the plus sign here, click on create folder, right? I'm going to name this one financial, right? As you can see, when I'm creating a folder, I have the option to add people to this folder. However, I'm not going to do that because I will do it a little bit later. All right. Once you create a folder in Sharefile, the system is going to take you inside that folder so you can start working on the folder that you just created, right? As you can see at this moment, this folder is empty, but perhaps I may need to add some people first before I start adding some documents in there. So let's do that. As an administrator, I have the option to view these people on this folder tab. So you will be able to add people from this view, right? Just clicking on this tab. And by going to the add people to folder, which is this blue button here. What I will do will be to then look for a peer or a user that I have already registered in Sharefile and just apply the permissions to that person. So as you can see, as I selected my peer Tatiana, I will be able to give her the default access, which are view, download, and upload, right? And with the default notifications. So let's click on add. And there you go. This is how you can add someone to a folder.
Great, thank you, Jose. So now let's go into managing files within the folders. To add a file, it's pretty simple. Just click on the blue circle with the white plus sign, and you'll be able to see where you can upload a file. That will be the simplest way to do it from within the web browser. But additionally, you can also do drag and drop. Simply pick up the folder from your desktop and drag it to the web browser to drop the file. This will allow you to add multiple files at once if needed. Additionally, we can go into file versioning. Jose, would you like to cover file versioning?
Yes, Megan, thank you. File versioning is a feature that might be enabled on Sharefile. It's both an account-wide policy and a folder-specific setting. So folder administrators might override account-wide policy. There's no limit to the maximum number of versions that might be stored of any specific files. So files that have multiple versions will display the blue sheet of paper icon. And clicking on the icon will display the different file versions that are available. So you will be able to select which one do you want to download or delete in case that you have such right. Any files with the exactly same name file and file type will be automatically saved as the latest version. This ensures that no changes will be lost between updates or edits, and that there will be no file overwritten. If a user attempts to download a file that has multiple versions, the latest version will be the one that will be downloaded by default. To access previous versions of a file, just click on the blue version of icon, and by default, the file versioning will be saving unlimited versions of a given file. The account default is to have an admin user on the account. Changing this, but by default will be enabled. The file check-in and check-out. So the file check-in and check-out prevents users from uploading different versions of the same document while another has locked the document. So to check documents out, you may right-click on the item, then check the box next to the item name and click on More. Then this will allow you to select the option to check out. When you check out a file, a message will display just to confirm, and you will see an icon, an orange icon that will also let you know that the file has been checked out. If a user attempts to upload a document with the same name to the same folder, they will see an error message shown there, and it will let them know that the file has been checked out. So they won't be able to upload the file until the file is checked back in again. You might discard the checkout at any time by right-clicking on the item and selecting the Discard Checkout. You might upload a new version of the file by right-clicking on the item and selecting Check-in. This option will take you to the upload page to upload a new version of the file. Sharing files and folders. To display the share options, users can do either or both. You can check the boxes next to the items that you want to share, or just right-click on the item that you want to share and click on the share button that is displayed. When clicking on the shortcut section, the share menu will not display any content to be shared. The other two options will show the items that were checked. All of this will take the users to the share screen where they might choose from the available sharing options. Sharing files. So once you get a file to share, you have two main options, either email with share file or get a link. The recipients will not have to be added beforehand to the account because you will have the option to edit the message options and then add them. You can also change the notifications, expiration date for the link, and the require users to log in options. Also, be sure to know that the requesting files has exactly the same process and the same options. So let's see how this works.
Okay, there's a couple things that you need to know. So this is a folder view, and we're going to discuss about the files. So the first thing is how to upload a file to ShareFile. You have different ways to do that. So you can always go to the plus sign here, click on Upload, and this will bring you to a screen where you will be actually able to select a file or browse a file on your computer. Or a simpler way to do this is actually to just have your File Explorer open there, look for the file that you need to upload to ShareFile, and then just drag and drop it over here, right? As you can see, it's quite simple and fast, and depending on the file size, it's going to take a little bit longer than usual, but it's going to be there. You're going to get a notification about the upload here, and also who was the person that uploaded the file, all right? Speaking about files, there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of as well. So file versioning. File versioning is a feature on ShareFile that will allow you to keep different versions of a file available for everybody that has access to a folder to check on. So you're going to notice that a file has different versions on it because you will notice a blue sheets icon towards the right. And if you hover over the mouse, it's going to let you know that this file has multiple versions. So by default, the latest version that has been saved will always be available right here. So you can just click on it and download it. If you want a different version, you can click on the blue sheets and then select the version that you want to go back to and download that version, right? So this is great because you will be able to forget about overwriting a file by mistake, and you can always go back to previous versions of files, right? Also, if you want to make sure that you are the only one working on a file at this very moment and that nobody else that has access to this folder is going to tamper with that file while you're working on it, you can always check out a file. You can do this by right-clicking on the file that you're going to work on and then click on the checkout function. As you can see, the system is going to let you know that the checkout will expire in 24 hours if no other action is taken on it. So by doing this, I'm going to pretty much let this file locked. So everybody else will know or will get a notification whenever they try to open this file that this file is currently being worked on by myself. So they will get a similar message letting them know when the locked-out or the checkout would expire, right? By doing this, I'm making sure that nobody else will modify this file while I'm working on it. And then when I'm done, I can, save the new version of the file by uploading it, or I can just right-click back on the document and click on Discard Checked Out. All right. Well, now the last thing that you need to know about files is how to share them. So the easiest way for me to share a file is, as I just did, just mark the file here, click on Share, and then you will have two main options to share the file. Email with ShareFile. This way you will have to specify who are going to be the recipients of this file. So you need to know who is this file address for, and get a link, which will allow you to basically create a link to this file. So whoever gets access to this link will be able to download the file. And the main difference is the audience. So with this one, email with ShareFile, you need to specify the audience. Well, getting a link will allow you to just copy a link, and it's going to be for an open audience, since anyone that has access to the link will be able to share the file. So right now what I will do is just click on email with ShareFile, looking for a contact that I already have in ShareFile. All right, add a small subject. If I want to add a message, which is optional, I can do so. I'm gonna leave it as it is right now. And then I'm going to click on send. There you go. I will get confirmation that the item was sent successfully. And this just to let me know that my coworker Tatiana will be receiving that file.
Great, thank you, Jose. So now let's go into advanced features in the portal. The first one being Office Online Editing.
The ShareFile Office Online Editing will allow you to edit documents online using ShareFile. So a customer that owns an Office 365 licenses will benefit from the ShareFile Office 365 integration because it will allow them to, create new spreadsheets, Word documents, and presentation on any folder where they have upload rights. And also they will be able to edit any of those Office 360 compatible files on any folder where they are located. So and as long as they have rights. So users will simply need to complete the login when they are prompted to the Office 365, and Office 365 will automatically be stored within ShareFile. So those credentials will be saved there. The customer that owns Office 365 will also have the option to collaborate online with another peer that has access to the same file. Also, the Office plugin. The Office plugin is another tool that ShareFile has made available for customers that will allow them to use the Office application in order to start sharing and requesting files in a more easy way using their Outlook tool. So in order to share documents, when composing a new email, you can click on the Attach Files in the Citrix Files ribbon. The files are not attached to the email per se. So this helps circumvent file size limitations for attachments. So to request documents, the request links are displayed as hyperlinks that you can click, and users might change the text to a phrase that better suits their company needs or branding. And you can also create a direct link in your email signature. So let's see how this works.
Okay, now let's take a look at online editing, which is a function that ShareFile has, but you will need to have your employee user with an Office 365 license assigned, so they will be able to do the online editing. I'm going to pick any of the Microsoft Office files that I got here. As an example, this template. And you're going to notice that it's going to let you know that it's a Word Online document. So over here, I will have a preview of the document, and I will have some of the basic functions for the Word Online. But what I want to do is to edit the file. So I'm going to click on Edit, which is on the right panel. And on the next screen, I will be able to work on this document online. So no need to open Microsoft Word to start working on that. As you can see, this is a ShareFile document, saved to ShareFile, but it's still a Microsoft Word online document. So all I need to do will be to type in here or do the modifications that I need to do. Notice that at the top it says saving as I'm making changes to the file, and when it's ready, it's just gonna read save to ShareFile, right? So you know that every time that you do something new, a modification is gonna be saved as the new version of the file. If I want to save this file, basically I just need to exit out, and the new version of the file will be saved there, right? So now let's talk about the Outlook plugin integration. So in order for me to work on that, I'm going to show you my Microsoft Outlook here. You're going to notice that this application is installed on your Outlook because you will have this blue options button over here where you can control how do you want this plugin to behave with your Outlook. So if I click there, I will be able to change the general settings, which will allow me to see how I do want ShareFile to interact on the attachments. So whether I want to convert all attachments to a ShareFile format, or if I want to convert the attachments that are over 5 megabytes, something like that, or just the ones that I choose. By default, the option will be set to automatically convert attachments over 5 megabytes, but you can change this. You can also change the expiration policy, which is defaulted to all of the files that you send as attachments. And if you want to show the ShareFile icon, which you will see in a bit. So let me just save this feature, click on OK here. And now let me show you how an email that you're composing with the Outlook plugin is going to look like. So I just create a new email, and you see that from this view, it's pretty much the same. I will have a couple of extra buttons there available, like the encryption. If you want to work with share file encryption, you can do so. This is going to add an extra layer of security to the documents and emails that you're sending, right? Also, we have here on the right a couple other features that this plugin is going to give you. As an example, you can start attaching files from here, requesting files, or even initiate workflows. So what I'm going to do here is to send an email to my coworker Tatiana, right? And I'm going to attach a file that I have on my share file. When you click on attach files, you're going to notice that it's going to give you two options, from PC or from Citrix. From Citrix is going to be from your share file account. So you will be able to pick a file or folder that you have access to on your share file account. So let's do that. You see that I have the option to select different ones. So if I go to favorites, I should be able to just go and pick one of the ones that I got here. All right, let's pick this one. And there you go. Once the file is attached in ShareFile format, it's not going to send a huge attachment regardless of the size of the document. So basically what you will be sending out to your contact there is only a link on a banner format that is going to give them the access to download this file securely from my ShareFile account from the cloud. So I'm just going to send this to my peer, right? And wait for her response back. And there you go. The message has been sent.
Now, Citrix Files is a tool that ShareFile has made enabled for both Mac and Windows users, and this will allow the users to have an easier way to access what they have access to through the portal. So, as an example, you will see that accessing the ShareFile will be easier because on Windows you will have the Explorer interface, and what you basically will have is a network drive-like interface that will allow you to access the content that you have been granted access to. We also have the print driver. So the print driver is basically a printer emulator that will allow you to upload a file to ShareFile instead of printing it out. So the way it works is that you will be able to select a file and then print it through the print driver option. So the print driver will take that file and it will give you the option to just not save it into ShareFile, but also take it for directions. As an example, you can share the file to another party using ShareFile, or you can send it out to be used as an e-signature document, which requires the right signature integration.
All right, now let me show you the print driver. So the print driver will basically allow you to emulate a physical driver, but instead of printing out physical pages, what you will be doing is basically converting any TXT, Word document, or PDF into a PDF that will be saved into your ShareFile account, or that you will be able to use on ShareFile. So let me show you how it works with this document. So let's say that I need to print out this document, ShareFile. So I'll go to File, Print. And here, instead of picking up any of my physical printers, I will just select the Citrix Print to ShareFile, click on Print. And what's going to happen next is that I will have the window of ShareFile telling me where I need to save this document within my ShareFile account. So let me show you here. There you go. This is the document that I will be saving. As you can see, the format will be PDF, meaning that even though this document was initially a Word document, it's going to be printed out as a PDF within my ShareFile account. So I'm going to save a PDF copy of that document instead of doing a physical printing, actually. Over here, I will just need to select where do I want to save this document. I'm going to just save it on my clients folder. And then I can click on Upload Only. Or if I want to take more actions within ShareFile, I can just click on More Actions here. And as you can see, I can email with ShareFile, copy a link to the file, send it for signature, which will require right signature, or with SFAX. At this moment, I'm just going to upload it only. You will see a progress bar, and there you go. Then you will get a confirmation that the message has been successfully uploaded to the client's folder, as I did. Over here, you can take additional actions if you want to, right? And you will basically going to have the same actions that I showed you before, or you can just close out the window knowing that this file has been saved on your ShareFile account.
Perfect. Thank you, Jose. So now we've gone over all of the features that we outlined in the beginning agenda. Now we'd like to go over any questions that you may have. Again, feel free to add questions to the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. It looks like we do have a few coming in, so we are ready to answer any of those questions.
All right. Well, thanks everyone that have attended and listened in. We do have some questions coming in, so feel free at using the GoToWebinar console that you can submit any additional questions that you may have, and we'll do our best to answer them live or give you some additional feedback over chat. Okay, so the first one that came in, let me see. Can sharing options be disabled by the admin? Jonathan, would you be able to take this one?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Grace. Thank you for bringing that question up. I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question? I was having some issues with my audio.
No worries. Can sharing options be disabled by the admin?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, I just wanted to make sure that you can see my screen here. So there are some options that can be actually administered by the admin of the share file account. So if you go to people and you go look for the employees, so you can see, for example, you want to check on what's the client or the employee that you want to make some changes, and you can come here to see for the user settings. So all these are the user access that can be managed by the admin, specifically for e-signature. So it is just a matter, or once you got the entitlement for the e-signature, you can allow this user to send documents and to view the documents and actually to manage the signature template just by clicking on those options. So specifically for sharing, so the only options that we have available that will be for share to distribution groups. So as you know, a distribution group basically is a group that you can create that can include certain members of your team, so it will be easier to share files with them. So you can allow this user to be able to share to those distribution groups, and as well to be able to edit users, meaning including users or removing users from that distribution group, and also to manage the super user group. So a good idea is always to check on what are the access and the actions that you're allowing the employee users to do within ShareFile. Something important here for the team to remember is that the ShareFile is a sharing and sync solution, right? So the main idea is for the users to be able to share files. So that is always something really important to keep in mind.
All right, thanks, Jonathan. So the next one that came in is so we showed them how to add someone to a folder, but can you show us how to actually remove someone from a folder?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question. And for that, let's just go back. Let's say that there is an employee. As you said, we previously added a person to a folder. So what you need to do is actually just coming back to that folder. It can be either a personal or a shared folder that you want to remove that user. So let's see the demo. So in demo, you first see all the files that you have in that folder, and you'll have this option here to see the people on this folder. So if you click on here, you'll see all the users that currently have access to this. So the easiest way to remove that person that you don't want to have access to the folder any longer is basically just click on this option, and you'll see here the option to remove selected. So once you remove here, so it is important that to understand that here we're just removing the user from the folder access, right? So we're not removing that user from the entire system. So with this, we will basically just removing the access from this user to this specific folder.
Okay, perfect. And I think you covered it basically. The next question was an add-on. When you remove someone from the folder, what happens to the files? And you just, explain that nothing really happens to the files. You're just removing them access to that particular folder, but they still have access to the account. So let's run through. I think we showed it a little bit throughout the presentation, but can you show again how to request a file?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely something that can be done. There are multiple ways to do it. The easiest one is first, you just need to look for the folder where you want to request that file. So in this case, I just want to make sure that, for example, that I request a file that it will come into the customers folder. So I just go to that folder. You can basically access the folder directly. And then if you go to the more options, no, not on this one. You can go here to the plus sign. And you'll see here you have different options. And one of them is request files. So you do this, you'll get to this menu where you'll have different options. So you can request with Citrix. So basically with this, you're going to be using our secure mail to request for that folder. So you click here. So you just need to add the recipient and the subject. You can enter a custom message. And you'll see here that it will automatically populate the customers folder. If by any chance you want this file to be actually uploaded to a different folder, you can always come here to do the edit, and you can actually select where on your folder structure you want that file to go. So this is one option. Let me go ahead and cancel this. And the other option that we saw is just with the requesting the link. So when you request the link, basically you can go ahead and generate a link to this folder. You can use that link and copy into the body of your email. So if you use Outlook, you can use your own Outlook to send that email. And basically, once the final user receive that link, once they click on the link, they will be just brought to the share file interface where they can actually upload the file. And it will be again uploaded here to the customer folder, or you also have the option here to edit and select any other folder where you would like that file to be uploaded.
All right, perfect. Looks like another one came in. Can you show us how to get the plugin for Outlook?
Very good. Yeah, that's a really good question. So let me go back here on the system. So once you're here on the main screen for the Citrix share file, so right here in the upper right corner, you have the apps menu. So you click on here, you will see like all the applications that we have available. On the left side, you will see for different platforms, Windows, Mac, and mobile devices. And for specifically for Citrix files for Outlook, so here is the one. So you just need to download this plugin. So you download it and run it. It is important that once you install the plugin, you exit out of Outlook and then just reopen the program. So it will actually give you you will be able to see the plugin. And let me show you here. So you will see the plugin here. So the first time this will be grayed out. So you just need to log in with your credentials. And once you're logging in, you'll be able to see these settings that can be configured directly from your Outlook account.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. So since we're kind of on the Outlook now, can you show us how to, add a link in your email for my customers to add or to upload their files here, right in my email signature?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, Grace. And actually, I have seen this quite often where the users wanted to add that request files to the email signature. But also, you can do it directly here from your from your Outlook, right? Once you got the plugin, what you need to do is basically you just need to come here and create a new email. Once the new email comes up, you will be able to see here, these are options that are enabled after you do the plugin. So you have either attach files and you have this option for request files. So here we have two options. If you click on request files directly, it will go ahead and generate the click here to upload the files. And something that I wanted to mention here is that if you send it with the standard configuration, when a user uploads a file using this link, it's going to be uploaded to the file box. So I'm going to show you what the file box is in a minute, but let me remove this one because you also have the availability here to click on this arrow and it will give you the chance to use some custom settings. So with these custom settings, basically you can modify the security options. So by default, we require those users to upload the files into the name and an email address. Basically, this will give you better visibility on who is uploading files to your share file. You can also request the recipients to sign in, or if you don't need them to either enter their name or sign in, you can always use the anonymous option. So it is important here just to confirm that when you're allowing them to use the anonymous option, once you look on those files on your share file, they will be listed as anonymous, right? So you won't have any kind of visibility on who is the one assigning or uploading those files to your share file. Here you can also add an expiration date to your files and links, so you can either go from never to to a year, and after certain time that link is going to expire. And here we have the upload location. So remember, as I mentioned before, by default the one that we have is file box, but if you want to change this, you can always come here to the edit and make changes to and select which folder you like to user to upload the files. So you see, you will be able to populate all the folders that you have on your Citrix share file. Okay, so once you decide, I'm gonna say this is gonna come to my personal folder. Oh, not this one. I'm gonna go to the demo folder. Let me cancel this here. Sorry, you need to click on this one, so it will go directly to the demo folder. So you see that it will go directly to the demo. You click on OK, and it will automatically pre-populate the file here again. So this is the link, and now this time when the end user or the recipient upload the file, it will go directly to that demo folder. And the other thing that I mentioned, if I go back to share file, is that I mentioned about that file box, right? So for that file box, you will be able to see here on the left side of your screen of the menu. So the file box basically is just a temporary space, so a temporary folder where you can store those files that you're requesting, either from requesting a file, or you can upload them here directly. And but there is a limitation with these file boxes, that The files that are stored on this folder, they're going to be here just for 180 days. So this is really important. So in case that by any chance you get a file here on this folder and you want to keep that folder or that file for a longer time, so our recommendation is for you to move um, that specific file to one of your personal or your shared folder.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. So one other question came in. You had shown us before how to modify some of the individual user settings under the manage employee users. Can you go back one more time and show us how to do that?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, I was showing that fast. So just to get access to that, so you go to the people menu. So you need to go to the employees that usually are the ones who have more access to the certain settings in the share file. So let's see here, we wanted to make changes or make some adjustments to Michael employee. So you just click on it. So here you'll have like basic information for this employee, right? Most likely you already have reviewed the actions that you have specific for this employee. And here you'll see like the user access. So you can go ahead and see what are the options available that you can actually enable or disable for this specific employee. So it is important to mention that these are like employee specific, right? So any change that you make to this employee will affect only that employee. So you want to do you want to change settings for different employees, you have to come to each of them and make the changes directly. So we have here, as I said, general configuration from the availability to change the password and access to the personal settings, from files and folders, so to create root folders in shared folders, to use the personal file box. So you don't want them to have that file box, you can just remove that option. Add the e-signature, as I said. So if you're entitled for e-signature, you got the licenses, so you can allow this user to take advantage of this and use it, depending on the options that you want to allow this. Workflows is the same, right? So you have permissions, is only available for super users. And you want them to manage clients, to manage employees. So basically they will be able to create clients or employees depending on the access that you want to use to this specific user.
Perfect. And would you mind briefly just showing, going to the Browse Client section and showing what permissions are available for the client's perspective?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you go to the browse clients. Um, we have discussed this a couple of times on previous webinars. Sorry. So the difference between a client and employee is basically the access that they have, right? And also, whenever you have an employee, you are consuming a Citrix ShareFile license, whether you have as many clients as you want, and they don't consume any license. So if we go, for example, to John Doe, so you have pretty much the same actions as you will have with an employee, but actually you see you don't have any user access settings. So they don't have any access to any of the creating folders or doing anything within ShareFile. So the only things that they do have is change their password and to have access to their personal settings.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan. So we only have one question remaining. So if you do have any additional questions, please submit them now. So we have just a couple more minutes, but in the remaining time, Jonathan, would you mind showing us how to edit files if you don't have Office 365?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question, Grace. And I'm going to start first saying that when you have Office 365 integration, it's pretty simple because actually you can make changes online directly on the file. You can edit directly from the, let's say, from the browser. So if you don't have Office 365, you have to follow a few more steps. So let me go look for a folder here, and I'm gonna look for a specific file here. So the way for you to actually edit a file, so what you need to do is you will need to download that file directly to your computer, make the changes, and then upload that file directly to the folder where the original file is. So you have to be very careful on this because you have to keep the same name of the file. So once you upload the file, you'll see this icon on the right corner, and it will show you that it has multiple versions. So this is an indication that the file was actually edited, and there are multiple versions available for that specific file. So it is important that always the latest file that is uploaded to the system is going to be shown here as the current. And with the previous versions, what you can do with this one is basically download that file, or you can delete it directly. Okay, so again, it's really important to keep the same exact same name of the file, because for example, if I got here right signature, I download this file to my computer, make changes to it, and then if I upload it to share file with right signature 1.pdf, so the system will think that that's a new file, so it will treat it as a new one, and you won't see this versioning option here. So that is just something to keep in mind, because that this will give you the option and seeing when a file has been edited, and you will have access to the previous versions.
Okay, perfect. So that I think is the last one. A couple I'm just following up over chat, but just as a reminder, we do have the resources that we covered in today's presentation available under the handout section of the GoToWebinar. So feel free to download that, access the the good juicy information that we covered today. And then also just a quick reminder, we do hold these sessions bi-weekly. So we have on Tuesdays, we have an administrator session, really deep dives into those settings, setting up the account. And then we do have the end user sessions on Thursdays. So feel free to join those again if you want to deep dive a little bit further, or pass that information on to your colleagues, just so that they're aware that we do have this webinar available. But again, thanks everyone for attending. We'll keep this webinar open just a couple more minutes so you have access to download the resources. But again, thank you for the time. When you close out of the GoToWebinar, you should be prompted to provide some feedback. So feel free to give us additional information of what you liked about the presentation, things that we could do better. But again, thank you all for your time.